You saw them live? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon to those of the East Coast. Hi, work wife. Hello. Welcome in, everybody. Let me make sure I unmute for the Twitch and the YouTube so that you guys can hear me, because that never ends up well when I do that. So hello, hello, hello. I hope everybody is doing well. Thank you guys for being here. If you're over here on TikTok, will you make sure that you are tapping that screen? Please get that little pink bar going over there and fill that up. I would appreciate it so very much. So tap that screen, share the live out, do your daily heart me if you have not done so. Remember, when you share the live, you can share it to about 5 friends or more. I mean, if you want to, I'm just saying, like, at least minimum, right? 5 friends. You can repost it, you can add it to your story, all these fun things to help push us out. We also have the lovely roses up there, as we always do, little gifts to kind of help push. Yes, it does help get paid, but you know, TikTok takes a majority of that. So if you would really like to help me, this is my job, guys. Help a bitch pay her bills. I have my 100 goal that I have every single day. If we could try and get that knocked down and accomplished, that would be wonderful. And I get pretty much all of the proceeds from that. I think PayPal's the only one that takes like a little bit. But other than that, Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal are in there. So instead of letting TikTok take the money, I can have it directly. And I would appreciate that if you guys could help out with that. So, how is everybody doing? Now that we have a ceasefire that's not a ceasefire, and we'll get into that. Yeah, Taco Tuesday. Thank you, Cindy Luhu, for following over there on Twitch. Guys, I am multi-streaming, so I am on Twitch and YouTube. If you go over to Twitch, you can follow or you can actually subscribe. If you have Prime, if you pay for Prime, you get a free Prime sub to one content creator every month. You can, yeah, audio, yeah. And you can use that to sub to me as well. You get stickers, you can send bits, fun stuff over there. Also on YouTube, you can subscribe or you can join and be a member. There are also also super chats that you can send if I am not reading your comments or they're scrolling by too fast or there's too many of them. It makes it easier for me to be able to read them. There's also donations and things like that over there. All right, so let's get into it. I'll turn this on too. That would be a good idea. Let's get into it. I did not do the political sources. I was sitting here this whole time and I didn't fix it. Okay, it's fixed. I fixed it. Based on conversations, and excuse me for butchering names, I apologize. Based on conversations with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir of Pakistan, and wherein they requested that I hold off the destructive force being sent tonight to Iran, and subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz, I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of, can you guys guess, 2 weeks. This will be a double-sided ceasefire. That's what a ceasefire is, so that's an interesting statement. It has to be agreed on by both sides. The reason for doing so is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives. Remember that, we'll get into that later, and are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace with Iran and peace in the Middle East. We received a 10-point proposal from Iran and believe it is workable. It is a workable basis on which to negotiate. Almost all of the various points of past contention have been agreed to between the United States and Iran, but a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. He wouldn't know what that is. His wives don't do that with him. On behalf of the United States of America, as president and also representing the countries of the Middle East, it is an honor to have this long-term problem close to resolution. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So that's what was announced, right? Which is interesting because this was his truth, from last month. There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. After that, and the selection of a great and acceptable leaders, we and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Iran will have a great future. Make Iran great again. MEGA, I guess. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So there was going to be no deal, but then, there's a deal. But before we get into going through this deal and how it's already falling apart, let's just do some usual timeline stuff with Trump, huh?
And it's always 2 weeks. He's like a conscientious employee. He always gives 2 weeks notice.
I'll be making a big decision on the Paris Accord over the next 2 weeks.
We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks. We call it the Gold Card, and we're going to start selling, hopefully, in about...
What happened to that healthcare plan? Did they sign it within that 2-week period? No, that didn't happen.
2 weeks.
So we can just sit down, and I'll do this at some point over the next 2 weeks.
They would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks.
We'll have something in 2 weeks.
You'll have your approval in 2 weeks.
I could answer that question better in 2 weeks. I'll let you know in about 2 weeks.
You can ask that question in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I think in 2 weeks we'll know which way I'm going.
I'll add another 2-weeker to the reel because
It's 2 weeks. It's always 2 weeks. That's just how he lies to y'all. MAGA, I'm talking to you. It's just how he lies to y'all to make it sound good, although he needs to start picking a different frame of time because that's not working. So here's some reporting. I'm going to bring this one up. This is from The Guardian. To be clear, I tried to look this morning, and the only people, and I will bring them up as well right after this, but the only people I'm finding who are reporting the actual complete 10 that the United States has conceded, Trump tacoed, okay? He didn't propose this plan. This was a plan, a fortnight. Donald Trump conceded to their plan that they proposed, not what we've proposed. But the only people reporting the actual individual 10 is Fox. I will bring them up. But everywhere else is saying that we don't have the complete 10. We just have a framework of what it entails. So we'll go over that first again, this is The Guardian. What is in Iran's 10-point ceasefire plan, and will the U.S. agree to it? What demands are in Iran's 10-point plan? According to state media, Iran will only accept the war's conclusion once details are finalized in line with a 10-point peace plan reportedly submitted to the White House via Pakistani intermediaries. The list of 10 points published by Iranian state media include a number of conditions the U.S. has rejected in the past. The plan requires the lifting of all primary and secondary sanctions on Iran, continued Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz, U.S. military withdrawal from the Middle East, an end to attacks on Iran and its allies, the release of frozen Iranian assets, a UN Security Council resolution making any deal binding. As much as I like that one, the UN has not been anywhere like that. In the version released in Farsi, Iran also included the phrase, quote, acceptance of enrichment for its nuclear program. But for reasons that remain unclear, that phrase was missing in English versions shared by Iranian diplomats to journalists. Obviously, there's more that goes into it, but that's all going to be speculation because we don't know what we don't know. Did they share it on X? I didn't see, and maybe that's where Fox got it, so it's fine. I'll go into Fox reporting on the 10 points, which is interesting. That again, to be fair, the administration is saying it's a place to start, right? Like it's a framework, but most of the things that are in it are stuff that were already happening if we just would have kept our fucking noses out of it. We could have just, not done this. And actually, it sounds like what they're asking for is going to be more than even we were giving them before. I agree with that. The toll is going to be an issue, right? The latest that I heard from sources within the administration that I've read was that they're trying to tout it as some sort of joint venture. That's never been stated. That's not stated in the 10-point plan. It's not stated by Iranian media. It's not stated by anybody there. So that is just the admin saying it would be joint. It's not. It would be in control by Iran if they decide to charge toll, like Sharif says down there. It will allow their economy to recover and also cooperating with China and Russia. So we just give them money. It doesn't sound like it, Iron Patriot. We're going to get into that. But here is, this is Fox News. Talking about the 10-point plan. But before we get into that, W's to 13 Dot. I haven't seen you in a while, 13 Dot. I hope that you are doing well. I feel like we haven't seen you in a while. But thank you for the 10 on the green app. I do appreciate you guys. That brings us down to 90. We got getting our day started. All right, Fox News.
That includes 10 separate points. Some of them include the U.S. guaranteeing a non-aggression pact with Iran, continuing Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, acceptance that Iran can enrich uranium for its nuclear program, removal of all primary sanctions on Iran, removal of secondary sanctions, and end of all UN Security Council resolutions.
So, number 3 particularly, for those of you who the United States have said, and you who, lick the taint, you got a fucked up schedule. Oh, 13 Dot, I'm sorry to hear that. That you don't want them to be able to have a nuclear weapon at all. It sounds like, and I've talked about this before, even in things that Trump has proposed, it's like it's the exact same thing as the JCPOA. He just wants his name on it. And you can enrich for energy, not just for nukes.
Against Iran, an end to the IAEA's resolutions on Iran's nuclear program, compensation, payment for...
That's wild. End of all IAEA resolutions on Iran's nuclear program. Yeah, no. Again, this is just Fox reporting this. I haven't seen it from Iranian state media. Audi said they released it, but I haven't seen it.
Iran and its war damage, withdrawal of U.S. forces from the region, and a ceasefire on all fronts. Those are a number of points that are not going to be reached, and the next 2 weeks are going to be critical as negotiators try to hammer this out. That includes...
Now, obviously, this isn't like a signed deal completely agreed to. That's why we're calling it a framework. That's why you're calling it a basis. My issue is that you, MAGA, some of you, and I'll show you that cope later, are trying to tout this as some sort of win, some sort of diplomatic solution. This is the art of the deal, Donald Trump, that we voted for. The problem with that is that this didn't need to happen at all. And they were negotiating. We were negotiating with them already in Geneva. We have talked about that. I have shown you clips about the foreign minister of Oman, who again is back in the middle of negotiations. We were talking with them. We had mediators and we're talking with them and negotiating with them. But then Donald Trump felt slighted. Or I guess Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner felt slighted. They told Donald Trump that they weren't willing to negotiate and we started bombing them. So I don't have a lot of hope about this idea that we now have a framework basis to start negotiations, because our country doesn't seem to be very good at negotiating. Doesn't seem to be something that they're good at. Okay. Which makes it even more ridiculous that Donald Trump truthed this. A big day for world peace. Iran wants it to happen. They've had enough. Likewise, so has everyone else. Yeah. Oh. Somebody finally saw the polls. The United States of America will be helping with the traffic buildup in the Strait of Hormuz. There will be lots of positive action. Big money will be made. Iran can start the reconstruction process. We'll be loading up with supplies of all kinds and just hanging around in order to make sure that everything goes well. I feel confident that it will. Just like we are experiencing in the U.S., this could be the golden age of the Middle East, President Donald J. Trump. This is just a framework. We're not done. And that's the thing. I've said they should probably, and they probably will. They will find a way to just say, we won. We won. We're done. Pack it up and go home. Even though we just left it a big fucking mess. Just a big fucking mess. And he also had this truth. The United States will work closely with Iran, which we have determined has gone through what will be a very productive regime change. We'll talk about that with a Hegseth clip later, and the fact that you didn't change the regime, it's still the same regime, it's just different people. That's not how that works. There will be no enrichment of uranium, and the United States will, working with Iran, dig up and remove all of the deeply buried B-2 bombers' nuclear dust. Where is that listed anywhere in Iran's proposal? They're not doing that. I doubt that they'll agree to that. It is now and has been under very exacting satellite surveillance. Space Force. Nothing has been touched from the date of attack. We are and will be talking tariff and sanction relief with Iran. Many of the 15 points have already been agreed to. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Now, the reason that's frustrating to me is because he got out of the JCPOA for one main reason and one main reason only. He had this want, this desire, and that was to put sanctions back on Iran because the JCPOA removed those sanctions. So now it's fine. Again, he wants to do, it's going to be a worse deal, but he wants to do what Obama did and have his name on it. That's all that he wants. Okay, Kat. Let me see. Thank you, Kat, for the $2 train over here on the Blue app. Choo-choo! Thank you for the twain. I appreciate you so much. I have to do... Hey, friends, fix it. So I can't do that. We don't do that number here. He had a lot of truths. Well, he always has a lot of truths, but... He specifically, I just wanted to kind of show this. He specifically truthed this official statement that has been going around from Iran, right? So this was posted yesterday. On behalf of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I express gratitude and appreciation for my dear brothers, Prime Minister... Is it he or H-E? I'm not sure about that. Prime Minister of Pakistan, Sharif, and Field Marshal Munir for their tireless efforts to end the war in the region. In response to the brotherly request of PM Sharif so it must stand for a title that I'm not sure of. In his tweet, and considering the request of the U.S. for negotiations based on its 15-point proposal, as well as announcement by POTUS about acceptance of the general framework of Iran's 10-point proposal as a basis for negotiations, I hereby declare on behalf of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, if attacks against Iran are halted, our powerful armed forces will cease their defensive operations. Again, defensive, because we attacked them first. For a period of 2 weeks, safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz will be possible via coordination with Iran's armed forces and with due consideration of technical limitations. I just kind of wanted to show the highlighted portion, which is the fact that this is a concession. Even if it's a basis for negotiations, it is a concession because we were in negotiations with them before we started bombing them. We could have just continued those negotiations. There was no need for this. I don't want to hear anything about a win, about an art of the deal. That is just you coping, you being in a cult. That's it. Well, it also doesn't sound like it's going well already. I have a lot of Fox News clips today, so you guys are going to have a hard time today, I think.
Well, and if they break it's only a ceasefire. This is not an end to the war. I mean, how many ceasefires did we go through with Hamas and Israel? So if they break it, then I guess we bomb our hearts off, as the president would say.
Well, as the president said, all of this is contingent upon Iran reopening the Strait of Hormuz. So let's see if they actually follow through on their commitment, because if they don't, if they've breached the agreement already, the United States is not going to be bound to follow the terms of the ceasefire. And notice, overnight, the Iranians launched a number of attacks on the UAE, on Israel, and Kuwait. So maybe this is the sort of thing that happens when word filters down to the frontline commanders, hey guys, hit the brakes on this. But maybe this is a sign that the Iranians are not actually serious about committing to the ceasefire.
Well, and if they break...
Iran was still shooting missiles off towards Tel Aviv, towards, I think, Kuwait. They were still shooting missiles off last night. So it doesn't sound like the deal is holding up, which, of course, the United States is going to blame on just them. But we also have reporting on Israel or the U.S. and the U.S., we're not sure, and or striking as well. Again, they will say in this clip that it is in response to what was going on last night by Iran, but that means there's no deal. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. We're still here.
Yeah, this morning there were reports of explosions on 2 Iranian islands and at least 1 oil facility off the coast of Iran, an indication that the United States or Israel is still conducting airstrikes against the Iranian regime.
Arturo, where did I say that we know how much what are you talking about? Where did I ever say that we know how much they have? All you've done, and I say this over and over, that all you've done is move them underground. He does need a nap. He looks very tired, which I wouldn't blame him. He's in Israel right now. You have moved their nuclear program underground. Whereas we had oversight. When we had oversight before Trump decided to be a fucking narcissistic pig idiot and remove us from the JCPOA and remove that muscle and that power from the JCPOA, we had oversight on them. Now they're going to move underground. I never said that we know how much they have. And yes, you're right. If they're taking out our planes, they still have missiles. So why is I don't know why you're coming after me. Why is the Trump administration lying? Why is the Trump administration lying that they're militarily decapitated, that we've taken them out? They're able to shoot down our fucking planes. JCPOA is not oversight if it's underground. Then you would need to show me where there's any kind of report from the IAEA that said they had suspected that there were facilities underground or, underground colloquially that they didn't know about. Otherwise, you're talking to me about what I always say, which is called invisible boogeyman. You can make up anything that you can't prove. So anything dismissed without it, or anything presented without evidence can be dismissed without it. Okay.
But it also comes amid new incoming fire toward Gulf countries. Both Kuwait and the UAE have reported dozens of ceasefire violations. We're talking about drones and missiles being launched over the Persian Gulf toward these countries. And so it raises questions about if this ceasefire is actually in place, if this is an issue of getting the command down to some of these lower IRGC officials in the south of the country. But what we have seen in the aftermath of that announcement by President Trump is a variety of ceasefire violations by the Iranians that has included ballistic missile fire toward Israel and drone and cruise missile attacks toward Gulf. Yeah.
So again, yes, maybe Iran violated it first by shooting at the UAE and Kuwait, but we're striking back. So the ceasefire means nothing. So there's no victory here is what I mean. How do you have oversight when you're barred from entering certain areas and has to be approved ahead of time? Were they barred? Is there something within the IAEA reports that they were barred? I would love to see that. I have no problem reading IAEA reports, but most of the time what you guys bring me is stuff from after Trump ripped up the JCPOA agreement. Once he pulled us out, there was no muscle there for them to continue. So, and actually they did. And they started enriching and got to about 61% in 2021. So, Iran killed a British journalist recently. Yeah, okay, here's the thing. Again, I don't know why we have to go over this every day. Let me preface this again, since you guys don't seem to fucking understand. Nobody here is defending the Iranian regime. Right, thank you, Ari. That's what I thought. They were not allowed into facilities that were not specifically listed within the JCPOA. Renegotiate that, dummy. Don't just pull out of it. Let me preface this. The world is not black and white. There is nuance in the world. We do not live in a duopoly. We do not live in the binary. I'm so sorry to you that life is a spectrum. I can say that Iran's regime and government is shitty, terroristic, harmful to people and to people in their own country and the people of the world. I can say that. While at the same time saying, I don't think that our administration has any fucking business being there when they didn't start anything with us initially. Israel did, and we had to come in to defend Israel because Netanyahu has been looking to get us over there for decades. We know that because we have staff from previous administrations, even from Trump's first term, that don't work there anymore, who said that Netanyahu used to come in all the time and try to get him to pull the trigger on it. But most presidents said no. Donald Trump was finally the one to say yes this time. Why? Because you have people like Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner who are going, yeah, do it. And Pete Hegseth who says kill all Muslims. So, there is nuance in the world. Iran barred us from military sites before 2018. Get me that report, Chris Wade. Can you get me the title of the report? I would like to read it. They've had 60% enriched uranium forever now, except they didn't until after we withdrew from the JCPOA. You guys need to be smarter. Thank you, Ari, by the way, for sending me this. This was the one that Iran posted. So Iran is saying the U.S. agreed to commitment to non-aggression, continuation of Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, acceptance of uranium enrichment, lifting of all primary sanctions, lifting of all secondary sanctions, termination of all UN Security Council resolutions, termination of all Board of Governors resolutions, payment of compensation to Iran, withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from the region, cessation of war on all fronts, including against Hezbollah in Lebanon. So thank you for that. Over there so I can post it in my outline as well. I'm not saying I believe Iran. I'm saying that's what they released. That's what Fox is reporting off of. And again, like I stated multiple times, since you guys don't know how to understand, is that it's a framework. It's meant to be. But it sounds like the ceasefire is falling apart already. Just give me the IAEA report. Don't give me Israeli intel. I don't want that. And also, so not just strikes are happening, but it doesn't sound like the strait is open either. This is also Fox reporting. I hate that it starts in the middle of the fucking sentence, but here it is.
Are saying that oil tankers passing through the strait have been stopped because of Israel's ceasefire breach. So you have that going on. And there's a report out there that says that the president might not send J.D. Vance to Pakistan for the meeting in Islamabad on Friday.
Might be a little soon.
I mean, I would think with everything going on, you wouldn't send him anyway. Even if you had a tentative ceasefire, right? Like I wouldn't send JD Vance over there, unless you really hope he's going so that he can talk to Pakistan, who seems to be our mediator in this. Phantom, thank you so much for the 100 bits over there on Twitch. Happy Wednesday, my friend. Let's not send him over there. I'm just saying from a strategic standpoint, it wouldn't make sense to send him over there. So. And again, call YouTube. My phone line is open. If you wish to call and talk to me about the subject, you absolutely can. You're going to do so based off of factually based information and not your feelings. I would like to see it. I have no problem with that. Maybe there's information I haven't seen. It's not something that I have studied very hard. I'm not going to say that I have. That would be silly. But even Fox News has admitted that we have not achieved any of the objectives that Donald Trump set out to do.
But I will say that the president's demands, we have not reached any of those objectives. I have full confidence that the president is going to find some way to make this happen. But he said that we...
That's all you guys have. I don't know how many people, me and Olive, have spoken to, where we're like, yeah, but they haven't done that. Yeah, but they're not working towards that. Yeah, but they haven't put legislation down for that objective at all. And all we get is, well, I hope he will. He still has time. I hope he will. I believe he will. I believe he can.
want to dismantle all major nuclear facilities. That has not happened. The end of uranium enrichment on the soil, they're still enriching. The transfer of the enriched uranium stockpiles out of Iran, that hasn't happened. The acceptance of intrusive international inspections, they're still not willing to do that. And they have not suspended their ballistic missiles program. They're still firing them off to stop the production of the long-range missiles.
Chris, you can get muted. You guys, mods over there, would you mute Chris? Not for the entire day. He can come back. I don't want to see anything out of you, Chris, besides what you said that you had for me, which was proof that we were barred from being able to see facilities during that period of time. You said, why do I have faith in legislation, though I will answer that before you got muted, is because that's how our country works. I don't believe in kings. I don't believe in having dictators in this country based off the Constitution. So executive orders don't mean shit. They're not shit. And that's why we've seen them becoming not shit, because they don't mean anything. How is your interest on your credit cards? Is it down to 10% like he said in his EO, or no? No, because EOs don't mean anything to private corporations. You would have to do that through legislation. Okay. Back to Fox News admitting that Donald Trump got not shit done.
So that's just a few of them on the president's proposal. The question is the president using this 2 weeks to give our soldiers a break, a rest, to see if we can get this ultimately done? We'll see.
We'll see. That's your other one that was your guys' favorite last year, was we'll see. And for those of you who are brainwashed over there on the YouTube and just keep saying that I have TDS, again, I will point you to the fact that you actually do. Because what I can do is I can actually critique politicians for bad things they do and say I don't support that and say that they need to do better. You will do anything that you can to pretzel yourself without stretching. I know you don't stretch. That Charlie horse is going to hurt, to glaze his taint. Stop doing that. So let's go down to Hegseth and Kane's press conference this morning. They're asking Hegseth specifically because Hegseth is using language that actually goes against the UCMJ, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice, in regards to giving quarter. It is a war crime. It is against our laws to not give quarter, but yet he had said specifically, don't give quarter. And the reporter is going to ask him about the fact that Donald Trump said to have mercy. And that's my favorite phrase, Trisha. I love glaze his taint. And how he said no quarter, and how do you square the circle on those two opposing statements. And pretty much what he's going to do is cry about it. Because that's what he does. He's going to cry about the network, not actually answer the question.
Because of that. And also, you said earlier that the president chose mercy. But you yourself had said 3 weeks ago that we will give no quarter to Iranian troops. How do you correlate those two? And do you think that your comments may have put...
Uncle, then call. Give me factual evidence that I'm missing to educate me if I'm so dumb. You can't square circles. See, is woman more smart than Trump? You missed the point of that phrase. You can't square circles. That's the point. I'm glad that it hit ya. Right in the face. That's the point of that phrase, sweetheart. You can't square circles, which is why him making an opposing statement saying that Donald Trump said to show mercy while he asks for no quarter is an oxymoron, is a paradox. Square the circle means you can't. Wow! The point went over your head. Who's smart? Try again.
American troops at risk.
No. I try to be nice up here, but you did listen to what I said, right? I laid out the objectives. We believe we've accomplished them, and it's a historic military victory. And President Trump has the option as the commander.
You're confusing me. I know, sweetheart. I know. It's okay. It's all right. Sit down. Okay? Just sit down and just take it in.
Chief, to compel an adversary
And to
to the table,
Costagon, it's crazy.
which is precisely what he did. And at the end, he chose to say, you know what, I'd rather talk to you at the table than obliterate your capability to export oil and fund your terror regime. So he did make that choice. That was his choice. He was a president of peace, and he's been willing to make those really tough calls that the American people elected him to do.
Except that we could have just not. Right? We didn't need to be over there at all because we were already negotiating. We were just back to square one. That's all we did. But we caused a lot of fuck shit and killed a lot of people and killed a lot of children in the meantime. That's all that just happened.
Nothing we've done, not a single thing we've done. This is a typical, of course, it's ABC. Not a single thing we've done has put an American troop in more of a harm's way. We've only set our troops up to harm Iranian military capabilities, which they've done to devastating fashion.
Except for that whole shooting down our planes thing. Vega says besides the nuclear capability of Iran, you're okay with the regime murdering their citizens? No, which is why I just went through an entire explanation to you about nuance. No, them bad. They treat, let me simplify it for you. Iran regime bad. Iran regime kill people. Bad. Just Monica, no like Iran regime. Bad regime, Mani no like. U.S., bad. U.S. strike schools on purpose. Bad. U.S. say no police of world. Lie. U.S. get involve other country. Bad. Okay? Okay.
And to great success. Mr. Chairman, you had a part of that
There's a
question.
lot in that question. I'd love to take that offline and answer it, but I'm struggling to find exactly what your question was, and that's probably me, not you. Okay, all right. Sorry about
Mr.
that.
Chairman, it was an indictment framed as a question, so you're forgiven for not understanding. Go ahead, please. No, you've had your chance. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very
I
much.
believe so, based on the diplomat.
Which I'll play part of that clip later about Kane when he's answering whether he believes the Strait is open or not. And he says yes. Poor thing. I feel bad for Kane because he worked his entire career to get to the point. It is an honor to be appointed as a Joint Chiefs of Staff, excuse me. And unfortunately, it is under this fucking president. So Hegseth kind of tries to dig again at the Iranian military. And it doesn't go well for him because, again, this lie that they are defeated, that they are decapitated militarily is not true because they are still striking. Even now, when there's a ceasefire, they're still striking. They have shot down 2 of our fucking planes, well, multiple of our planes. We had to go save 2 pilots. And I'm so glad that they are back home and safe or on the way back home and safe. It's not going well. But Pete Hegseth, because he tries to just do propaganda for y'all who live in this weird Fortnite Call of Duty vibe world, tries to make it sound like, yeah, we did it. And that's not what's happening. He's just lying.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary and General Kane. Mary Margaret with the Daily Wire. 2 questions. Iran has said that safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz will be possible in coordination with Iran's armed forces and, quote, technical limitations. What do you believe that means? And then we've also heard reports that Iran has continued striking targets well into this morning. At what point are we beyond a grace period? Are we giving them a grace period? Is there a miscommunication there? What's going on with that?
What we know is that Iran is going to say a lot of things. A lot of people are going to say a lot of things, claim a lot of things. What has been agreed to, what's been stated, is the strait is open. Our military is watching. I'm sure their military is watching, but commerce will flow. And that's what you saw the markets react to, is that reality.
There's also the aspect of market manipulation. Because as soon as that shit was announced, crude fell, plummeted. It was at 95 when I checked before I started this morning. The Dow has gone back up. I think it's at like 47. It is absolutely market manipulation. Because I don't see this ceasefire going anywhere.
As far as
other than the possibility of Trump using it to say, we won, we're done. Even though we just made a mess.
shooting that, we were monitoring it last night in real time. Of course we are. Iran would be wise to find a way to get the carrier pigeon to their troops out in remote locations to know not to shoot any longer one-way attacks or missiles, because this takes time sometimes for ceasefires to take hold. We're watching it. We're prepared if necessary, but we hope and believe that it'll hold. Yes.
Thank you, Secretary.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Why are you so rude? Just
because they're telling the truth. They're not being rude. They are telling the truth, which you are not. They are still firing missiles. For you to try to get a dig in to say they gotta send carrier pigeons to go to their messaging, because we've taken everything out. We're done so good that they can't even communicate with each other. They're still fucking firing missiles, which is what that reporter is saying, and she said it nicer than I did. I see it, Kat. Give me 1 second. What do you mean she's being rude? So you're going to cry? Why are you so rude?
wait. I'm calling on people.
Thank you, Secretary.
Yeah, people who will lie. And this clip continues for just a second, just so you can hear the end, because, he gets very mad. How dare a woman speak up against him the same way you guys do when she's just telling the truth.
Yes.
Thank you, Secretary.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Why are you so rude? Just wait. I'm calling on people.
Thank you, Secretary. Yesterday in the President's Truth Social, he threatened to wipe out a civilization.
He said, so nasty. That's so nasty. Sweetheart. Maybe that's why they don't like us. Lakin and all of my LGBTQ friends in our community. Maybe that's why they don't like us, is because they don't like being read. They don't like going to the library. But he's very sassy. He's upsetty spaghetti. And us within the community will read you for fucking filth. Maybe that's why he's upset. WCAT for the $2 train. I'm going to do it again. Choo-choo twain. Choo-choo. For the no more 88, please. Yeah, absolutely. We don't do that here. And I appreciate it, which is why we do 87 plus 1. So I appreciate you guys for for that. Thank you, Kat. Oh, really? Okay. You rang for like 2 seconds. You had no patience? Cool. So since we've now tacoed and backed off for now, Hegseth is going to be asked about if Donald Trump was serious. Did Donald Trump seriously plan to do, which again, we're going to get into this conversation about that truth that we read yesterday, threatening the end of an entire civilization. You guys can try to cope. I will show you cope about that later, where you try to add or subtract context to that does not exist, like the crash out that we had yesterday about a man saying he meant the IRGC. Well, that's not what the fuck he said. He said an entire civilization. So that is what it is. So they're going to ask specifically, was he serious? Was he planning on doing this if no deal was reached?
Yesterday in the President's Truth Social, he threatened to wipe out a civilization. That statement elicited a huge response in America. If Iran did not come to the table and make a deal yesterday by the deadline, was the president really prepared to wipe out Iran entirely?
Like I said, we had a target set, locked and loaded, of infrastructure, bridges, power plants. Remember, this is a terror regime, the military regime, used all of these things.
Dick, his name is Dick Long Johnson, says that's not a genocide. What would you call ending an entire civilization? Or what would you call that? Oh my gosh. That was so pretty. Thank you, Pat. Is it? I'm going to call you Papa? Papa? Pap? Pap?
I like it when you call me Big Papa.
I do like it when you call me Big Papa.
I call you Mommy.
What do you call it when you wipe out an entire civilization? Yeah, Casey, that is what Israel does. I agree with you.
For dual use to fund their military, to fund their terror campaigns. We had a lot of legitimate targets.
Poet is an op in the YouTube chat, by the way, and said, let me guess she loves his name. Yeah, I do. I do love some Dick Long Johnson. You guys wouldn't know what that is, but yeah.
They knew exactly
Shut up,
the scope
Blue!
of what we were capable of. We hit some military targets on Karg, which is a bit of a signal. They can't defend it. And so Iran ultimately understood their ability, their future, to produce, to generate power, to fuel their terrorist regime was in our hands. It was in President Trump's hands. That's why they came to the table. He ultimately said, we can take it all from you. Your ability to export energy will be taken away. And the United States military has the ability to strike those things with impunity. That type of...
No, you don't. That was the argument. That those are war crimes to start getting civilian infrastructure, like power plants and bridges that these people need.
Threat is what brought them to the place where they effectively say, hey, okay, we want to cut this deal.
It didn't bring them anywhere. You are agreeing with their 10-point plan as the framework, as the basis, as the starting point. Who came to the table? Sounds like the U.S. did. The fucking spin and cope is wild. This was a failure. We lost 13 service members. This was a fucking failure. Thank you. Hold on, let me bring it up. Thank you, Mike, for the $5 on the Green app for dealing with these crazy MAGA ass kissers. I would say crazy motherfucker ass MAGA ass kissers. Thank you, Mike. So W is Mike in the chat, please. I appreciate you. You guys are giving me easy math, and I appreciate that so much because we know that a bitch needs a calculator. So, Kane has asked a question. I know it's hard to pay attention to the actual real people who do real things, but General Kane is going to be asked about the investigation on who struck our F-15, right? We had the F-15 that was struck. Is it more than 13? I have not seen confirmation on more than 13 yet. And Sparky. And so he's asked, and either we don't know or... they don't want to tell us, and I can understand that. General Kane, it's still 13, thank you, Ari. General Kane is probably the only one who still is with doing what you're supposed to do for OPSEC and not releasing information. So he's going to kind of go off on a little diatribe about how the investigation is ongoing. Now, again, that could mean we don't know. It could mean we do know and we're just not telling. And I have no problem with that kind of information not being out. But the whole point is we're going to listen to General Kane's explanation. Totally fine, professional. And then we're going to listen to Hegseth have to get that Call of Duty dig in at the end to try to think that we are greater than we are and that we are doing better than we actually are in Iran.
It's right here.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman. David Zier, Real America's Voice. During the ceasefire, what do we do when we see Iran rearming, regrouping, repositioning weapon systems and air defenses? And also, have we confirmed the specific model type of air defense or man pads that took down our F-15? And is it still a threat for our patrols?
We're still working through the specific details around that particular shoot down. And the crews, when they normally return, go through a debriefing process along with the other members of that flight that were out there. And they'll go back, as they always do, and forensically look at what are the tactical lessons learned. Did we sense or see something? Could we have done something different? We do that, as I mentioned in a prior press conference, every single time we take any loss like that so that we become a quick learning organization.
Right. So like he's saying, we either don't know and the investigation is ongoing because we don't know, or we do know and he's not going to tell us, and that's totally fine. Yeah, Ak, I definitely do. I do want to say this is not on topic at all, but we'll bring it up. That's fine, Ziggy. You didn't spell it right, but when are you going to, where was it? The other one. Are you supporting the releasing of you said Aspen files, you mean Epstein files, while not while yet not holding your Democrat friends accountable. How many times do I have to say this in a week? I want all the files released. The DOJ under the Trump administration currently is not following the law. They are breaking the law of the Epstein Transparency Act that I have read, that you probably have not, that required them to release all of the documents. Todd Blanche, who is now the acting DOJ because Pam Bondi was fucking fired, has said that they are moving on, that the DOJ is moving on from Epstein and there is nothing else going forward. I have an issue with that. You should have an issue with that. I have an issue with the fact that previous Congresses, and you can go all the way back to Clinton, previous Congresses did not do anything, did not look into or do anything in regards to Epstein. I have issue with that. The DOJ didn't do anything in regards to Epstein. I have issue with that. Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, all sorts of other fucking Democrats are in those fucking files. Why isn't Todd Blanche? Why didn't Pam Bondi go after them? Go get them. There is enough for you to start questioning them. Why did Pam Bondi not reach out to the survivors? Because they stood in that damn room and said that they were never reached out to. Why? I do hold them accountable. The person that's in the chair, however, is not. Nobody gave a fuck about the Epstein files before Donald Trump opened his big fat mouth. That is true. You want to admonish me for that and say that I'm a shitbag for that? Go ahead. All of us. Every single one of us. Nobody gave a fuck. Because you know what we did? We believed the survivors. But you know who has been there making excuses and hiding it this entire time? Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, Alex Acosta, Alan Dershowitz. I want something done. Go get them. You're going to tell me Bill Clinton is a sex pest? I'm fucking shocked. Not just because of Monica Lewinsky, which is probably the only person that you know, but how about the woman who accused him of exposing himself to her? Go get him. But the only person who can do that is Todd Blanche now, under Donald Trump. Okay. Back to what we're actually talking about, which is this bullshit-ass ceasefire. General Kane gave a real answer. Like I said, we are either still investigating because we don't know who took down our F-15, or we do know and he's just not releasing that information because of security, which I have no problem with. But again, we're going to get to Pete Hegseth at the end having to be a big baby and make sure he knows that the United States is the strongest in the world.
The other part of your question around the movement of Iranian military forces, U.S. CENTCOM will continue to monitor that situation. They will continue to have a series of response options, and if need be, will come to the Secretary and to the President for guidance and be prepared to do the things that they're ordered to do so against valid military targets in accordance with the normal procedures that we have.
I would just note, it's a good question. The more Iran moves forces, the more they emplace forces, the more easily targetable they are for us right now. Remember, we're able to look, we're able to see, we're able to sense. We know so if they try to preposition, they're just creating riper military targets for us to strike should they make the wrong decision at the table.
He's just saying words. He's just like, that was really concise and actually coherent. So I'm just going to say words now. Like, what? Obviously not, because they were able to shoot down our planes. Obviously, we're not good at sensing their movements because they're shooting down our planes. And then this is General Kane, who I don't fault him for this. But, where is that? That's not what I wanted. Why is that what came over there? Okay, so I don't have that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, well, I have it from my previous clip, don't I? Which one was that one? I think that was this one. Nope. Hold on. Sorry. I don't know why it does that to me sometimes. There weren't that many. Oh, come on. I know you panned over. It's going to be the last one that I pick. No. It would have been this one then, wouldn't it have been? Hold on.
is what
Let me see. Might be this one. I don't remember. Either way, the
brought them to the place where they effectively said, hey, okay.
No, that wasn't that one. Okay, but I did show you the clip where at the end they talked about General Kane saying that he believes the strait is open. So what they did is they asked him, is the strait open? I'll have it in my outline for later, but is the strait open? And he said, I believe so based off, if I quote correctly, I believe so based off of diplomatic resolutions or diplomatic talks. I believe so. And I don't fault him for that. As far as he knew, it was. But like I said, it doesn't look like it. So now let's get to some COPE about what brought to the table. Again, like I showed you with Pete Hegseth about this idea that Iran came to the table. Iran didn't come to the table. The U.S. did. Okay? The U.S. came to the fucking table. W to the 132 of you over on TikTok for hitting 50,000 likes before we hit just the top of the hour, so I appreciate you. I do like to hit 100,000 before we end, so if we could keep tapping that screen, I know we can get that done. If we get the 50,000 done in that first hour, we can definitely get it done in the second hour, so I appreciate you guys for doing that. I have the little finger hearts. I'll pin them down here at the bottom so you can see them. If we could get those accomplished, that would be awesome. I have 81 left in my goal. Anything that you can contribute is super, super helpful to me, guys. This is my job. This is part of my income with my family, and I would appreciate it if you guys could help out with that. And I am multi-streaming, so don't forget that I am on Twitch and YouTube. If you like the blood sport and you like to argue with the dum-dums, you can go over there on YouTube and have fun with that. If you like a more calming space, Twitch is going to be that for you. TikTok's calm too, but you still get the haters, right? Twitch is much more my calming space for that. So this is Scott Jennings. I don't know why CNN still does this. That is just proof that CNN is not this left-wing clown show that you think it is. I think it's a clown show, to be fair. I just don't think it's left-wing. I think it's just, it exists. So this clown show keeps bringing up Scott Jennings, and Scott Jennings is going to continue what Hegseth said, which is this idea that Iran came to the table, and that is not what happened.
Looks like it brought them to the table tonight and got them in a place where they would agree to a ceasefire. I mean, I'll give you a counter argument to all these other positions, which is
that is
the
not
president
connected to reality.
We have a ceasefire.
Abby,
do we not?
Tel
Aviv is still under attack.
The same
as we were going on
table
air.
that we have tonight is the table that existed yesterday, in large part. And fundamentally, the only thing that has been agreed to is that Iran will continue to control the Strait of Hormuz and will allow ships to go through on their control. That is the only thing that has been agreed to.
The strait is going to be reopened, and we're going to negotiate about the rest. Beyond that, we don't really know much of anything. But I will tell you, yesterday, Iran was saying, we're cutting off, talks. We're not going to continue the talks. The president uses some extreme language, and all of a sudden, voila, tonight, we have a ceasefire for 2 weeks. Why can't we just say, you know what? Maybe we have achieved military objectives. Maybe we have taken...
Except we haven't. This is my... Yes, Abby, I feel you. Except we haven't. We have not achieved military objectives. Yeah, the president of the United States had to threaten genocide for them to say, hey, do you want to look at this 10-point plan?
Taken down their military and their ability to export terror. Maybe we have decimated their missiles. Maybe we've buried the nuclear material, and maybe we've got 2 weeks.
Maybe. I don't give out participation trophies for maybe. I don't glaze his taint for maybe. He didn't do anything but start a goddamn war we didn't need to be in.
The world a safer place. Why can't we look at this as a glass half full moment as opposed
because
to
it's not.
We have to make it negative for Donald Trump.
Why
That's
can't
all
you
it is.
just acknowledge that what Donald Trump said this morning was abhorrent and that no president should ever threaten annihilating a civilization? Why can't you just acknowledge that?
Look, he's talking to them in the way he thinks he needs to talk to them.
Why can't you acknowledge that?
And why can't you admonish that? Yes, Donald Trump is talking to them the way he feels he needs to, because he is a disgusting person. But don't you think that the president of the United States should be better at diplomacy? This man who touts himself as this art of the deal guy, he's so good at business, he's so good at negotiating. Why can't you call him out for bullshit on that? He's not good at negotiating. Obviously, he's not. In the middle of our negotiations, he starts bombing them. And now he threatened genocide in order to get a deal.
That is something that
because
no
I don't take
president of the United
orders
States
from
should
you,
say.
number one, and number
I didn't
two,
say,
I give him
I'm
the
asking
space
you a
to
simple
negotiate with the
question.
Iranians the best way he knows how.
All right, well, let me just ask one final. Let me ask a final question, Scott.
And I'm going to continue this clip, and then I'm going to get to what Adi just sent me. But I'm going to continue this clip because it continues exactly where it left off.
We have to make it negative for Donald Trump.
But why
That's
can't
all
you
it
just
is.
acknowledge that what Donald Trump said this morning was
30
abhorrent and that no president should ever threaten annihilating a civilization? Why can't you
So I lied. Not right where it left off, but it'll go right into it.
just acknowledge that?
Look, he's talking to them in the way he thinks he needs
Why
to talk
can't
to
you
them.
acknowge that?
Because I
that
don't-
is something that no
Because I don't
president
take
of the United
orders
States
from
should
you,
say.
number one, and number
I didn't
two,
say,
I give him
I'm
the
asking
space
you a
to
simple
negotiate with the
question.
Iranians
You
the best way he knows
why
how.
All right,
can't
well,
we
let me
accept
just
this? I'm
ask one
asking you
final, let
why
me
we
ask a
can't
final
accept that.
question, Scott, for the record. Do you think it's acceptable for the president to threaten to annihilate a civilization?
I think it's acceptable for the commander-in-chief to deal with these people in the best way that he can.
Is that a yes
to
or is
get
it a no?
result.
Is
And I
that a
give him the
yes
lat-
or
and I
is
give
it
him the
a
latitude
no?
to
So
do
that's a
it.
Is that a
yes.
yes or a
I'm not going to
no?
second guess him. I'm not going to second guess
So
him.
it's a yes.
So
Put out a
yes.
statement. We now have a ceasefire.
Okay.
Those are the two things that
I just wanted to ask for the record.
Yes.
That's a yes on your part.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there.
So yes. Scott Jennings is you, MAGA. He is you. You have no actual morals. You don't care about human beings, which is what I said yesterday. You are fine with war crimes if you think it gets you the result that you want. You are fine with him threatening to genocide a nation. But looks like it's going well. Thank you, Ari, for always being on top of our breaking news. Live updates. Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon, per Iranian state media. That lasted... How many Scaramucci's was that?
I mean, crude oil is still going down. Actually, no, it went up by $2 from this morning.
Let's see.
When I looked at it this morning, it was it's going up.
It was 95 when I looked. Let's look together. Everybody, we'll do group activity. Ready? It's still 94 here. Where's Brent? Still 94. It was 95 this morning. It's got to catch up. It'll go back up. We'll keep that right over here. That's where I like to put it. Actually, we'll give it its own little window. Nine hours? Is that how long I was waiting for? Well, it's closed again. Can your viewers get a 360 of what? Do you want me to like spin in my chair? Like what? I can't spin in my chair like that. What do you want? The fuck are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know, Chicky. I don't know what that. So actually what I'm going to do is let me get this pulled back up. Yep. There we go. So we can keep watch of it, guys. Let me zoom in for you. So there, you can kind of see it now. Fix the window. Hold on. Getting it fixed. Just so it's there. We like to have it. Just there. It's going to take time for the markets to catch up on that, but they will. Okay. Let's get back to it. So Scott Jennings crashed out on this woman later because his only job and all he knows is how to glaze Trump's taint. That's all you guys know how to do. So when she starts speaking, he is going to assume that she is talking about Donald Trump when she's not, which is really, really fun. This is how broken your brains are, that he's going to assume that she's talking about Trump. She's not.
Military. You know, we should apologize to them for having to serve under such incompetent leadership. I mean, the fact that we've got someone who is a a morning show host, unserious, cosplaying G.I. Joe,
Duly
wannabe
elected,
frat boy.
won the popular
I'm
vote,
talking
won the
about
electoral
Pete
college.
Hegseth. Yeah.
She wasn't even talking about Trump. She said, G.I. Joe, Fox News host. And Scott, duly elected, won the popular vote. That's not who she was talking about.
Military. You know, we should apologize to them for having to serve under such incompetent leadership. I mean, the fact that we've got someone who is a morning show host, unserious, cosplaying G.I. Joe,
Duly
wannabe
elected,
frat boy.
won the popular vote, won the electoral college.
I'm talking about Pete
Who's the
Hegseth.
commander
I'm not
in
talking
chief?
about the draft
Who's the
dodgers.
commander in
I'm not
chief?
talking about the draft dodgers.
Who's the commander in
Nobody's
chief?
talking about him.
Winners and losers for serving. I'm not talking about Donald Trump. Let's follow along. I'm talking about Hegseth, who was credibly accused of sexual assault, who was military. You know, we should apologize to them.
Like, that's how broken Scott Jennings is. The commander-in-chief. We weren't talking about him. Hey, nobody was talking about him. You okay? Here's Ro Khanna, who went on Fox and completely tore the fuck up out of the host on Fox, so that they had to do exactly what you guys do, which is change the language that Donald Trump used. Thank you for calling the stream. Can I get your age, state, and who you voted for?
Sorry, you broke up a little bit there. What'd you say?
Can I get your age, your state, and who you voted for?
29, Ohio, and I was unable to vote in the last election.
Why were you unable to vote, if I may ask?
I was deployed. I was in Iraq during that election.
And you didn't get a chance to do your ballot because you guys are still allowed to vote.
No, I know, but we were working 6 days a week, and
Just didn't get a
have
chance
time with
to.
all the,
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have the time with all the duties that I had to do.
Totally fine. Are you supporting Trump?
So I support whatever president that we have currently.
Okay.
I want the best from them. I want them to do the best that they can for our country, regardless of whether I agree with their politics or not.
Sure. I would agree with that. What'd you call in for then?
So I've been trying to kind of listen to other people on the other side of the aisle because I am more conservative leaning. I just wonder, I don't agree with, because I was just listening earlier, how you're saying that the entirety of MAGA doesn't have any kind of capacity to care for other humans.
Yeah.
And that they're okay with war crimes.
Yeah.
And I see this on the conservative side too. I don't think that's okay. It's disingenuous, in my opinion, to classify the entirety of the other side in that way. It's a little bit dehumanizing.
I'm talking about MAGA specifically, the people who refuse to critique Trump or anything he says or does. That's who I'm talking about specifically. Because the issue I've had is the last month, they have been pearl clutching and saying we need to liberate these people, but they wouldn't spit on these people if they were on fire.
I don't agree, but fair.
Sure.
Fair.
And so then you are probably not the person that I'm talking about. I don't think that you liberate a people by bombing them. How?
I agree.
How do you liberate them by bombing them?
You don't liberate the people by bombing their homes, their cities. I get it. But now, correct me if I'm wrong, the Iranian public, for the most part, is in support of what's going on right now, right? They wanted the Ayatollah gone. They wanted everything to change.
I
right?
have not seen that in the majority, but I could grant you that they don't like the Ayatollah or the Iranian regime. I don't like those motherfuckers either. They treat their people horribly. But we have for decades been told by conservatives that we are not the world's police. We need to get out of and stay out of the Middle East and stay out of their politics. And my big red line was when he started threatening to go after civilian infrastructure. You cannot liberate a people by turning off their power.
Well, it's not only civilian infrastructure. If it's supplying power to, I agree with you on the point that conservatives should stand by their guns on the fact that we need to stop being the world's police. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think the only reason it changed for them is because it's Trump doing it.
Which I think is ridiculous. I think that blindly supporting your political, whatever political party that you are involved with, blindly supporting whoever's in charge of that is akin to political dogma, which is a detriment to every society that it's ever cropped up in.
I agree completely.
But just because you said it was like civilian infrastructure,
Yeah.
I mean technically it's both, because if that power station is supplying power to both like the city of Tehran, but also all the military defenses around it,
Sure.
there's
But it's a war crime. We don't do that. We're not supposed to do that because, yeah, sure, it might make it harder for their military to do things without that power. It also allows babies on incubators to die. So
Is that
again,
laid out in
we're not
Geneva Convention?
liberating the people in that way.
I guess I haven't really taken a gander at the Geneva Convention in a little while. I guess I'm wondering where or what article states that we can't target civilian infrastructure if it's also linked to military.
If it's also linked to military.
Like if a power plant is supplying power to a military installation.
Well, then I would
I'm
want to
pre-
see the proof. I would want to see the proof that it's linked to a military occupation. But you're saying that that would be fine?
So if it's this kind of it's a tactic that governments will use. They'll use a power plant and say that it is only supplying power to like you said, the example you used, a hospital with babies on incubators, but then they'll run military infrastructure off that power plant, and then if it gets hit, you're only targeting it and you're killing babies on incubators using that as like a press point.
I would say that would be media spin or media propaganda on the attack, not necessarily the attack itself. My issue would be, let's say that it is sending energy to the military, but that it also legitimately is sending energy to hospitals, to babies on incubators. Would you still be okay with striking it?
Me personally, I think there's probably better targets from a strategic standpoint. That's my opinion on it, but that's also why we have multiple, at least when it comes to the planning stages of a military action, we have multiple people getting their input, weighing the pros and cons, because
Right.
I mean,
and that's fine. And I understand
that.
I understand that war is disgusting. Again, I can go back to the fact that we shouldn't be there in the fucking first place. This did not need to start. But I understand that war is gross. The issue I have is this administration and many of the MAGA that I talk to talk about it as if this is to liberate the people. I do not see how you liberate the people by threatening to end their entire, quote, civilization.
I mean, and I'm not laughing because I find that statement funny. I don't think that Trump is very good at articulating what he wants to actually
Don't
be
do that.
done.
He's a grown man. He's a grown man.
No.
If he writes
I know.
a truth, if he
knows
writes
what
a
he's doing.
truth, yes, if he writes a truth about an entire civilization will die tonight, I think that's what he means.
It's a fear tactic. It's what it is.
Except that we knew that they actually did launch B-2 bombers that turned around. So was it a fear tactic or was he actually going to do it? Because Pete Hegseth said he was going to do it.
Honestly, if he would have done it, I would have lost all support for him in that point.
That's your line.
Huh?
That's your line? Your line is doing that?
Obliterating an entire country, yes. Like that is a line that you cannot come back from no matter what. Like you have done that, you've obliterated something.
What does obliteration of an entire nation look like to you, though?
Obliteration of an entire nation, crippling them to the point where they cannot come back.
That's what Donald Trump has threatened to do over and over. Why is that not enough? The threat alone and Pete Hegseth fully co-signing that. Why is that not enough?
I mean, to me, threats don't mean a lot until action is done behind them that follow up with that threat.
He is the president of the United States. I think
I'm
that
aware.
his threat should be enough. This is not like somebody who threatens to punch you in the face for a week and just never does. He is in charge. He's got the most powerful position in the free world.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I don't think that this has been handled the best way possible.
We shouldn't have been
At
there
all.
at all. So,
We should. I mean, I don't know.
why?
It's hard. Well, it's so coming back to like, should America be the world's police or anything like that? With the Ayatollah and the Iranian regime consistently funding these terroristic organizations that are attacking the West in general, at what point do you say enough is enough? You go after the people. You don't. You
At
stop
the
going
point
after
when
the
they
terrorist
attack us.
organizations. Yeah,
Like you said, threats aren't enough. So at the point where
but they have been.
where Iran directly has attacked us.
Not Iran directly, all the terrorist
Oh.
organizations that the regime has been funding. That's what I'm saying.
Cool.
At what point do you
What about-
say enough is enough and stop
and-
attacking the terrorist organizations and
And
start
when
going
does the
after the
Middle
funding?
East, when does the Middle East, who funds these organizations, the organizations are the ones saying enough is enough? Because how much imperialistic U.S. meddling are they going to take? We have been doing this for decades. The reason Iran is the way it is because of us. We decided to go in and meddle to their duly elected situation that they had, or democracy that they had in the 70s. We did that.
I know. It was Jimmy Carter and his presidency. I understand. The CIA started meddling in shit that they shouldn't have.
Right. And so those countries, then we help fuel radicalists. Like, my issue, I didn't have any love for the old Ayatollah in the 50s. Thank you, Chris. The 70s is when it got harsh. The Ayatollah was a shitbag. He was also in his 80s, so I think nature was going to take its course. But now we're going to have a younger, he's supposedly more hard-lined. People are dying. Women and children are dying. We are attacking schools with our very accurate Tomahawk missiles. And
Are
yet,
you referring to the girls' school that blew up right next to the military
we
base?
hit 2 schools, yes.
No, that is unfortunate. That is a terrible, terrible travesty, honestly.
How accurate
I
are
just-
we with our missiles?
So usually it's within at least from my understanding, I wasn't in air defense or missiles or anything like that. That wasn't my job. But from what I understand, it's within a 10-digit grid coordinate, I believe.
We're pretty
Which
fucking
is-
accurate with our Tomahawks, right?
It's about 10 meters, I believe, is the
Mm-hmm. So
what's
why
the
did
margin
we
for error?
double tap the school before we even hit the actual facilities that were where the IRGC was?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I wasn't in that room. I don't know.
Right. And the internal and we're not getting any transparency from the administration on that. We're getting intel that, yeah, it was us. Because originally, they were saying, we're not sure. We don't know if it was us. Donald Trump even said that Iran might have stolen a Tomahawk, which is not a thing that happened, and bombed their own school. So my issue is that if we're going to be claiming that we are the greatest military in the world, we are bombing children and saying that how much of this do we put up with and take? And yet, in the same hand, doing deals with people like the Saudis who funded 9/11. But we're best buds with them now. Like, we can't pick and choose.
You are right. I agree with you. You are right. We need to stop being, at least that my opinion is, we need to stop being involved, period, across the world. I would rather us seek to solve our problems here at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be ideal for most Americans, in my opinion.
No, I agree. If he's the one who ran, I don't like him at all. I will say I don't like him at all. But if he ran,
that's completely fair. That is
if you ran on
100%. You're
America
right as an
first,
American
you should
citizen.
do it. So
I agree. No, I agree. I heard the slogan, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I liked it when I heard it,
no, of course, it sounds great.
and the actions aren't following what you promised, at least in that regard. That's just my opinion. But it just, the reason I called in is I kind of wanted to try to bridge the gap a little bit.
Sure, I
And
understand
show
that.
that we don't need to hate each other. We just need to have common discourse.
I agree. I think that you are reasonable though, and you're willing to be reasonable, and I think we're willing to agree on those things, in actual facts, right? Whereas the most of the time, what I get, and this is not you, but that's why I am the way I am, and that's bad. It's bad. It turns us into hard-shelled, cold people. But the people that I speak to most of the time, I had a man scream at me for about 10 minutes yesterday that the people who are making human chains around the bridges in Iran yesterday, that they all should be bombed because they are Islamist parasites. So the people that I talk to don't care
No,
about
that's
other
terrible.
people.
I've met terrible people on both sides of the aisle, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting either way. Like extremism is nuts, in my opinion. Like either way, because everything can go too far. Like you can have a piece of cake and it's great, but you eat that whole cake, you're gonna be paying for it.
Right, exactly. And I think when I bring up facts, or I bring up, like, they have a hard time with this idea that we can critique the United States. That's very, very difficult for them. They want to say the United States is the greatest country in the world, and what they don't understand is I would agree with them because I think that the country can always do better. That's why I critique. I want us to be the best, so I know we can do better and be better and have a higher standard for ourselves. They just don't hold that standard. If these countries are going to be terrorists, then for some reason that gives us carte blanche to do the same, and that's where I have an issue.
No, and then I can see where they're coming from the aspect of being like me being in the military, like listening to our rules of engagement. It is very, very frustrating being on the ground there, and then the rules of engagement that you have.
That you can't
And
commit war
knowing-
crimes?
No, not that you can't
Okay.
commit war crimes. It's that, so like I know that there was a good portion of the initial invasion or the occupation in Iraq where unless you were getting shot at significant, like you weren't allowed to have any kind of show of force. And I might say show of force, I mean like using your voice, projecting, unless you were actively getting shot at and you knew exactly who was shooting at you.
Sure.
You can't do anything.
Yeah, you should, because you're not being shot at. You probably shouldn't be showing force if you're not being shot at.
No, I'm not saying
Mhm.
and I'm not saying you shoot them,
No.
but for example, you see a group of military-aged men that are walking around carrying radios, carrying military equipment. They're just not in uniform because they didn't use uniforms when we were over there fighting civilian clothes. And they're out there at the same time every single day. They're mapping when your patrols are leaving. They're gaining military intelligence.
But you don't know that. And that's not your job to find out. You report
No,
it.
I
I would assume you report it back and say this is what we're seeing.
Yes, you would report it, and then you get told not to worry about it because you can't do anything because of rules of engagement. And then weeks later, your convoy gets blown up, 3 of your buddies die, and it becomes...
Yes, I understand that, and I understand how that can be shitty. But also, you could have the other scenario where they just were patrolling themselves, and they weren't actually getting information on you, and they didn't ever attack you, and then you've just killed 3 people for what? Like...
I understand. I understand your thought process there.
Yeah.
And I wish that was the case most of the time.
I don't want anyone to die. That's the thing. I'm a military brat. I didn't sign on the dotted line because of what it did to my father, and I understand that. And I always and will forever say I appreciate people like you who do sign your name on the dotted line and do the job. But I also understand why we have rules of engagement so that we don't do things like My Lai in Vietnam again.
No, yeah, it was...
Do you know what My Lai is?
I've heard the term. I don't actually understand. I'm not 100% sure what it means. I've
There
heard
was
the
a
term, but I can't-
village, and it wasn't the only one, but it's the most known one. There was a village in Vietnam where a commanding group of our army went in and shot a bunch of civilians. There were literally no people who were with the Viet Cong, and they shot civilians, women, a platoon. Thank you, Chris. You know I don't know the words. Shot women and children. We have documented pictures that have come out of those women and children who were shot, and then they burned all of their homes because they
That's crazy.
suspected, because it was such guerrilla warfare, that maybe they were hiding in the bushes to attack them. That's why we have rules of engagement.
No, I agree. And doing something as terrible as that on a maybe is one of the biggest disgraces on our military to this day. And I would agree with you that I don't want that to ever happen. And what I guess what I was saying with like the patrol, like you request a mission to go talk to them, figure out what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we refer to it as a snatch and grab. It's not as violent as that, but
It
that's what
sounds
would
more
be.
violent than it is. I understand what you mean.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
But yeah, your
I mean,
intelligence
it's
would be the
worth-
ones who decide that, though. The people above you that you never hear about. You know, the military is a ranked system. There's sometimes shit that you will never get to know about, and you're just on the ground.
Oh yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. I've been on the shit end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, you get sent somewhere, and you're like, why? And they're like, we can't tell you. And you're like, well, fuck.
No, it's an imperfect system with what we have, and
No,
And
and
what-
I just
like-
want us to have standards, and I don't think that you don't. I think you're very clear that you do. But again, for example, and I get the worst of the worst people, and I always say that, I have somebody in my chat right now who just said that you don't think some Iranians would do that. The regime has no rules of engagement, and they hate us. I agree. But do we hold ourselves to a higher standard or not? Are we better or not?
I want to say yes, but I want to say yes,
Yeah.
and I really do, and I want
I
to
know.
say yes, but in the reality that I know is true is that like soldiers are human too. No matter how much training that you throw at them, no matter how much training we go through, everybody has a breaking point, and if somebody does happen to reach that, it is unfortunate what happens. Like what happened with I forget if it was Afghanistan or Iraq when
The prison, Abu Ghraib?
no the
Could talk about that one too.
a unit got hit, lost a couple of buddies, saw I can't remember if it was the Taliban or not, or if it was the Iraqi insurgents in Iraq,
Mhm.
desecrating their buddies' bodies. So then whenever they killed them, they pissed on them, and then that whole unit got under investigation.
Right. But then they need to. But that's the thing. You can't control as much as, like you said, as much as you're trained not to do shit like that. You can't control shitty people being shitty people. But that's why we have investigations, and to ensure that we try to do as best we can, and we look at what brought them to that point. Did we need to have more leave? Like, did they need to be able to leave for longer or have it more often, or what's going on? Like, but my issue is, again, with the administration and people like Pete Hegseth who come on and literally say that we're not doing political correctness anymore, and so we're not giving quarter, and we're not doing rules of engagement. Like, that's not something you were just allowed to do, is just start mass murdering civilians.
Did he actually say that we're not doing rules of engagement?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, he was kicked out of the military, so I don't know why he's in the position he's in. I actually,
brother.
the people I feel bad for, and that's the thing, is I get a lot of like MAGA and conservatives who are like, well, you just don't like, again, I'm a military brat. Both of my parents were veterans. I feel bad for the military because you guys don't have a choice who's in charge at the moment. And when that pendulum swings, you're fucked. And you are at the whim of whoever the fuck is in charge. And so I'm not mad at our troops for being over there and doing this because they have to. This is their job. I'm mad that you guys are being put in that position in the first place.
I'll tell you who made me really mad was because you understand, like, we don't have a real choice in the matter,
Absolutely.
regardless of whether we agree with who's in charge or not.
No, the only thing you have
But
choice of is if the order is illegal, you can defy it. I mean, you're probably going to get court-martialed and have to go through that bullshit and stand your ground, but that is the only thing that you have. I understand that they own you.
yeah, and then even like I got very, very irritated with the people in Congress who are veterans who were calling for soldiers to disobey orders.
Unlawful orders. That's what they said specifically. Yeah.
I know, and I know when they said unlawful orders, and I get what they were trying to do.
They were just reiterating what's already in the UCMJ.
I know.
Okay.
But when you're telling a soldier, like, choose between feeding your family or standing your ground on a questionable order, because the definition of unlawful order is very kind of vague. At least with.
But who did you take
when,
an
when,
oath
it, when it
to?
comes to certain ones,
Sure. Who did you take an oath to?
the Constitution of the United States.
Okay. So that's your job. That is
Yeah.
your job.
Always. It was, yes.
I mean, I think that's it. I understand. I understand that it puts you in a position, but it would be, to me, that's like leaving any job. If you get fucked on a job and you got to go fucking DoorDash to make money because that's what you have to do, it's what you have to do.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, my problem was they were telling soldiers to disobey unlawful orders,
Mhm.
and they were purposely using unlawful orders.
Yeah.
When there weren't any like unlawful orders being given in accordance with how they were being given.
Because they don't
So if
have
you're
to be.
disobeying
It's
it-
just a reminder. Oh yeah, he's not going to be able to hear you. It's just a reminder for things
No, I know.
for things like this now, where he threatened to start taking out civilian infrastructure. Yeah, the boat strikes. We could talk about the boat strikes being unlawful. I guess that's fair. Because that's when they said
What's
that.
What's that with the Coast Guard and the?
Well, it wasn't the Coast Guard. That was the problem. It should have been the Coast Guard is the one who usually takes possession of these boats. Whereas we double tapped a boat.
Yeah.
That would be
I guess-
unlawful if the boat was incapacitated and the people were floating there waving for help. That would be against your rules of engagement. Even if they are criminals, you are then to take them into custody. That would be an unlawful order to commit to doing that, which is why they said the video that they sent.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah. So I understand why they said it. It might have pissed Donald Trump off, but too bad. That's the law.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's. I'm not gonna lie. I have a hard time keeping up with everything that's going on right now.
And that's on
being-
purpose. It's Steve Bannon called it flood the zone. You're supposed to be so busy with your life, and as you are, and most people are, with trying to make money for their families, that you can't keep track of everything that's going on. I wouldn't expect you to. This is my job. This is why I know so much about it.
Fair.
Yeah. And that's not an insult. You're totally doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
I'm just trying to eat.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. Same. I get it. But I do appreciate you. I think obviously there's things that you and I might disagree on, but you have a different perspective than I do. But I think that you're not the person that I'm talking about. I think that you would care about people. I think I speak to the worst of the worst most of the days. So I do appreciate you actually, even if you're an opposing view, quote unquote, coming in and reminding me that, there are people there that do. It's just paying attention to what's going on for you guys. This is going to affect you.
And like your point too, we are allowed to criticize. We are allowed to criticize the government. Yes, 100%. We are 100% allowed to. That is how this country was born, from criticizing the current current administration.
Right,
which
the
was King
monarchy
George
at the time,
England.
sure.
Yes, that is how this country came about, and I don't think that what you're doing is terrible at all. I think that you're really trying to provide insight from your side of the aisle, which is great.
Mhm.
And I am sorry that you have to deal with the worst of the worst. Like, that sucks.
No, don't apologize for them.
More so just because, like, because I understand how draining it is dealing with that.
Yeah.
And even while I wish that we could have better, I guess, representatives like talking from our side that would choose to call in. Like, the only reason I'm choosing to call in is because I have today off.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that too. I'm live during the time a lot of people work, so I don't get as many calls as usual. And so then I get the trolls who are on their lunch and just want to, wreak havoc. And I understand that. And like I always say, I come from a place of education. I'm never going to say that I know everything. That would be stupid. I want people to present me factual information that I haven't seen. And my issue is that all I'm doing is what I would do. I was live when Biden was president, and I critiqued Congress, and I critiqued Biden. I have no fucking problem doing that. I'm not loyal to any politician. I just want everybody else to be able to do the same. They work for us, not the other way around. And so I want them to do their job. The only way to ensure they do their job is to speak out and show their either popularity or lack thereof when they're not.
I guess I have one question.
Sure.
What do you think lost the Democratic Party the election in this last cycle, the presidential election?
I would say it's a multitude of things. I think that Donald Trump was really able to sell this idea of bringing down prices without a plan, because he uses, like we just talked about the Make America, or not Make America Great, excuse me, America First, right? He's really good at like the bumper sticker slogans that people want. That stuff sounds great. Drill, baby, drill, bring prices down. Like, all of that stuff sounds great. And I think a lot of people got that. I also think there was an aspect of racism and misogyny in regards to Kamala Harris, because I am convinced that if she would have been a middle-aged white man running on the platform she was running on, I'm not saying she necessarily would have won, but I'm saying that she wouldn't have had the obstacles that she did end up having.
So I'm going to offer you one explanation from my perspective, what really pissed me off while I was overseas, and then what pissed off a lot of my buddies that I was with. The fact that when Biden dropped out of the race, they didn't hold another primary, that they just appointed Kamala as a Democratic candidate.
Didn't.
That pissed off a lot of people.
I understand that, and that is just from a lack of understanding. I have this conversation quite a bit.
Okay.
It's to preface, one of the reasons that I admonish Biden is the fact that he said he was going to be a transitional president, and he fucking didn't. He fucking lied, and he should have just stepped the fuck away, so we could have had a giant open primary. That would have been the best case fucking scenario. However, we did vote for her in the primary because her name was secondary under Biden's. We knew that in an event, some kind of event where Biden was either dead or incapacitated, that she would take over that job. And when we filled in that bubble on the primary ticket for Biden-Harris, we knew that that was going to be the case. So technically we did. Now, when Biden stepped down with 107 days left, well, a little more than that because she announced later, they still could have held an open primary. To do that, what they would have needed is people willing to challenge. You would have had to have like Buttigieg or Newsom come in and say, no, we're going to hold an open primary right here, right now, couple months before the election. Nobody did.
And I think they should have.
Sure, but they didn't. They chose not to because we did not have a lot of time. And so what happens then is the delegates, the money, the donations are dedicated in Biden-Harris's name. So without having that open primary to move the delegates have no choice but to elect her. Those are the rules. Donald Trump actually broke the rules of the RNC where he was supposed to attend debates, and he never did. And he was still nominated, and I wouldn't rail against that because that's who people wanted, but he did break the rules.
No, I just, like, to me, the optics of it were terrible.
Well, you're 29, so you were did you vote in 2020?
2020. So that was right before
Trump, Biden?
Yeah, I did.
Who'd you vote for?
It was a third-party candidate. What the fuck was his name?
It wasn't Jill
Yeah.
Stein, was it?
No.
Like a Chase Oliver person, maybe? I don't think Chase was running, but I don't remember. Was it? Who was his name?
Hey, give me 1 second.
It was like
I'm sorry.
Jorgensen or something. I think I know who you're talking about.
I think it was I think it was Jorgensen.
Like
to be
Joe
honest with you.
Jorgensen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. I always double check that a little bit because I get like really hardcore Republicans who will tell me that they don't like what happened with the Biden Harris thing, and I'm like, but you've never voted for a Democrat in your life, so it's like, I'm like, I don't know why.
Oh no, like 2016, I was really pulling for Ben Carson, but I thought it would have been really interesting to have a neurosurgeon or brain surgeon as president to see like what he thought of it, but
sure,
because a man would obviously have to be smart, so try to have the smartest man in the room as leader of the country, but
and
I mean, I'm always kind of I'm more of a policy voter than like a slogan voter.
Yeah.
And a party voter.
No, and that's
even though I do
I
lean on the
think that's how you
conservative
should
side.
be.
I wish more people were like that.
I agree. I hate the spectacle that it is. I want to end things like Citizens United so that corporations are not seen as individuals, so they can't donate the amount that they donate, because then we're just
No, I agree
choosing
with you.
between who has the most money, and I hate that.
No, I agree with you. I think that it's terrible. It's the fact that corporations get to donate money is absurd. Like I was having the conversation with my wife about it, about how politicians, even if they do go in with the greatest of intentions, they end up getting bought.
Well, I can agree with that.
Well, just because like you want to keep running, you want to like keep trying to do good, but you need money for it and you need funding.
No, I want to break that system, but the only people who are running on breaking that are progressives, not conservatives.
I mean, Brandon Herrera is running on it in Texas.
Brandon Herrera.
He's the conservative who got a bunch of shit like earlier this month because he owns a copy of Mein Kampf and he was talking about it on the podcast.
Yeah,
and then
that's
he was
gross.
shitting all over it.
Yeah, that's
he
gross.
was shitting all over it. Like 10 seconds after that clip ends, I watched that entire podcast. They shit all over Mein Kampf and how it's terribly written. It's a schizophrenic nightmare.
Why would you purchase
He doesn't align with that.
Why would you purchase it?
For historical reasons. Like, he is a history collector, he's a history buff, and not being able to own a copy of it, because it is an abhorrent book. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But to read it with English, like accurate English translations, and figure out what he was trying to say or what he was saying in his book, and how more people didn't figure it out,
And
I think that's a
likes,
good reason to have it.
And he likes Kyle Rittenhouse. That's great. It's because he's a gun
Not
nut.
everybody's perfect. Not everybody's perfect. He is a gun nut. He is a
I know, but that's not a specifically conservative thing. You can go far enough left like I am and you get your guns back. We just also would like our children to, stay alive.
Also, being a history buff doesn't mean you read fucking schnapps.
that's a whole nother nuanced question right there.
Sure, it is, and I'm not going to get into that today. He's
Need about 3
featured,
more
but
hours.
he's featured other Nazi imagery and in jokes about the Holocaust.
Sounds like a schnapsy to me.
Yeah, it's satirical.
Satirical.
It's not. The Holocaust is never funny.
What branch is he in?
Sons of the Confederate Veterans. What branch are you in?
I was in the U.S. Army.
Oh, that tracks. Never mind. There's a lot of schnazis there.
He called the Civil War the War of Northern Aggression. Jesus Christ.
He was joking. Oh
No,
my
he's
God.
not.
He is.
Why do you say he's joking?
Because I've heard him call it the War of Northern Aggression on the podcast, the Unsub podcast. It's Like it's 3 vets and then him. They're all good friends,
And
and
it's a
they
joke.
joked
Where's
about
the
everything.
joke?
Where's the punchline?
Like they're
Jokes are supposed to be fun.
like it's a joke. Like they were talking about the Civil War,
Uh-huh.
and I think they had on another Marine veteran whose grandfather or great grandfather was served in the Civil War, and he found his journals, and they were talking about the march home. And when he brought up the Civil War, he goes, "Oh yeah, the War of Northern Aggression, yeah!" And they were all laughing at it. It was a joke.
Again, where's the punchline? I don't understand what's supposed to be funny about saying the War of
It's
Northern
a
Aggression.
It was a sarcastic joke. It's a sarcastic comment.
Oh, so he
Because
actively promotes the rights of
wants to watch
marginalized
what-
communities in this country?
What do you mean? Like
He-
like actively promotes or what?
Yeah, actively promotes. He speaks out against the fact that we still have Confederate statues and how we still want to have those things. And he speaks out in regards to BLM, as he has Kyle Rittenhouse that he spoke with. He was fine with that. He talked about how slavery is the reason that we went to war.
Yeah, he's talking about how slavery is one of the biggest reasons that they went to war during the Civil War, and they've talked and like he is a like statue defender purely because like if you tear those down, eventually like we will forget, and they don't need to be glorified at all.
Are we ever going to forget Nazi Germany, do you think?
I mean, it seems like right now some people are.
No, but do we still know it exists
Yeah.
and that it happened?
No. Yeah. But
Okay. Well,
on
we
the other
don't
side
keep
of
those
this,
statues up.
No, I agree. Now, do we?
You can keep them. Put them in a
keep-
museum. Just don't keep them in the town
Fair.
square.
Fair.
Okay.
I just now 1.2 year. Do people forget Nazi Germany? I think people have forgotten what imperialistic Japan was like.
Sure. I could agree with that. There's an entire subsection of experiments that they did on people that nobody talks about under
Yeah, the R word of Nanking.
that they didn't do.
Yeah, that's why we know the human body is 70% water.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The way we found
the
stuff
stuff
out, the experiments they
Yeah.
did on people who were alive. I have a friend
Maybe
who is
here's who they
currently
are.
serving. She just wasn't. Were you medically discharged?
No, I did my 6 years, and after my deployment, I was just kind of like I've done everything I really wanted to do with the military, and
And
it
you
was
were
time
done.
for me to kind of, like my wife and I spent our first year of marriage with me deployed, so I wanted to come home, and it was really hard on her, so I wanted to be home with her.
Makes
and
sense.
start building our
Um,
family.
I'm not going to just cut you off the way I do most people because you've been civil, at least, even if we disagree on things, you've been civil. But capitalism did pay to get you today, so I do hope you have a wonderful day. But we're done talking.
Hey, I hope you have a wonderful day too. God bless. Like,
Not God. Hail Satan. W. Oya, hold on. W. Oya for the 10 just asked, was he medically discharged before you drop him? But fuck that guy. He was probably combat arms. We don't need people like him in the army. And Hector, thank you for the $11 for lefty work. Ain't free. It's not. Guys, the reason I'll continue to talk to somebody like that is that they are civil. And there are things that we can agree with together. But he did, from the start, I think that's what we have to remember. He, from the start, said he's conservative. So yeah, he's going to bring up people like that. And I'm going to push back on the people like that. But he's going to bring up people like, hi, Satan. That was going to happen.
Well, also in that mess, and I'm sure our vets and our active duty military personnel can attest to it, there's a lot of stuff like that that's talked about. My eyes look so piercing.
I love it when you look me in the eye. Hello, my child is crazy, Lakin. That's wild. Hello, my child. Okay, let me refresh this. I am going to get through this little cope section before we end today. But I mean, the strait is closed, so that ceasefire is done, so the cope is kind of funny now. But again, we're talking about the language of threatening to kill 91 million people, so this is Ro Khanna on that. But real quick, as we get this break, thank you to TikTok. Thank you, Tappers, for getting us to 100,000 likes and over. We're at about 108 now. Thank you guys so much. Again, like I always say, I promise you, whether it is your thumb, whether it is your index finger, your partners will thank you for that. I know I certainly do. So thank you guys so much for hitting that. I appreciate it. Thank you again to Oya and Hector for bringing us down to 60. I appreciate you guys so much. Yeah, family story. Go ahead.
I'll ask later.
Okay.
Thumb?
Huh?
Thumb?
I tap with my thumb on my phone. I'm a thumb tapper.
You can't, but you can't. What else do you? Never. Again, never mind.
Look.
I don't.
You can do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do. You don't.
Anywho, coping?
Look, just because you guys know this one doesn't mean that some bitches can take more than that, okay? Because we can take more than that, some of us, okay? Anyway, it's wrong to use 2 fingers, and I use whichever 2 fingers I want to, Jen. Nobody's complained yet. Rokana.
Fairly reasonable. Do you believe that it was not insulting and in violation of everything we believe in to threaten to wipe out 91 million Americans? Would Ronald Reagan have ever done that? Would any other American president have ever threatened to wipe out 91 million people? I don't think Reagan did that at the height of the Cold War.
I guess what I would
FDR
say
probably didn't do that even when we were fighting Nazism.
What I'm looking at is...
No, but answer that question, Martha. Would FDR have said, let's just wipe out the German people?
I can easily answer your question. I mean, we know who tried to actually wipe out entire populations in World War II.
Yes,
we know
Hitler.
the kind of backbone and spine that it took on the part of the United States of America to end those tyrannies.
With morality.
So what I'm seeing
with
is someone who is
Donald
standing
Trump
up.
has no morality.
I think you have to. I'm kind of surprised, actually, that people haven't. That you don't get how the language works.
I get it if he's a real estate dealer. I don't get it when you're president of the United States with the inheritance
but
of
you're
people
more concerned
who
about
scaled
the
cliffs of
language
Normandy.
than the outcome.
No, I'm concerned about our values. I'm concerned that no American president would have done this. Do you think Ronald Reagan would have used this language?
No,
Do you
because
think
Ronald
FDR
Reagan isn't President
Do you
Trump,
think
and
Abraham
President
Lincoln
Trump
would
isn't
have?
FDR.
Do you
Abraham
think George
Lincoln.
Washington would have?
I'm
Do you think
saying-
he said, let's wipe out the British people?
Yeah, that's bad. He's not FDR. He's not Reagan. He's not Lincoln. Yeah. So he's the only president threatening mass genocide.
Donald Trump has compromised every moral standing we have as a nation. What makes America different?
He had her on the ropes, and that shit cracked me up. She was like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do. Open the phone. I only have 2 more, and it is, this one isn't, I don't know. Do you call it cope? Do you call it cope when Alex Jones and Megyn Kelly have decided to be better people? I mean, they're not. They're still pieces of shit, and they always will be. They've just realized that they're losing their audience, right? They're not, people aren't focusing on that shit no more. It's not happening. So, here's Alex Jones, who's gonna do what we say always happens. You guys bring in your Republican hope to bring it back to the conservative good values that we want. And when they come in and completely fuck everything up, you want Dems to come in and save you. And when they don't, you cry. You hate them so much, and yet you're asking for their help.
I am in the twilight zone right now.
So are I. So are we.
I am officially in the twilight zone right now. And I'm sitting there watching Trump wreck MAGA, wreck the Republicans, wreck the world economy, maybe wreck the planet physically. And then I'm just looking over at the Democrats, smiling and giggling and everything.
Where? Where the fuck are Democrats smiling and giggling at what is going on right now? First of all. Are we smiling at, I'm talking about Democratic politicians. I'm not seeing that. Are we saying I fucking told you so? Yeah, the fuck we are. And I'm not even a Democrat. Again, I'm a registered independent. Yeah. Because we told you, and 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 we told you. We weren't fucking making it up. You are dealing with the consequences of the choices you made, and we have been dealing with the consequences of the choices you made. But nobody's happy. But here he goes. He wants them to do something about it.
Anything else when they did nothing in Congress to block this.
They did nothing in Congress to block this. Oh, I'm sorry. Did they not propose a war powers resolution for Venezuela? Did they not propose a war powers resolution for Iran? Oh, wait, I think they fucking did. Who blocked it? Republicans blocked it. Because Donald Trump and his administration learned from the first time around to put in loyal plants who will glaze his taint and make sure that they get all of their awful shit done. They ensured that Congress would be feckless and to pull power to the executive branch. The Democrats can't do anything. I'm tired of hearing this. I usually fight with lefties on this issue, but here I am now fighting with Alex Jones? What do you want the Democrats to do? They proposed the resolution. They don't have the votes because you all vote for Republican idiots who just glaze Trump's taint.
Playing with fire, gambling again. There should be a coalition of Republicans and Democrats, and they should vote in on the war powers and say you don't have it, and they should cut the damn funding of this. My God, what's it going to take? Trump ending the world?
Maybe. I don't know. If only somebody would have fucking warned you, Alex. If only somebody would have fucking warned you. Oh, wait. We did. Here's Megyn Kelly, who I played a video of yesterday. Megyn Kelly literally said that she... I don't know where that clip was from. I assumed it was recent. But Megyn Kelly said that she would have still voted for Trump and Republicans even if Donald Trump dropped a nuclear weapon. Why? Because the Dems are crazy. Oh, interesting. After his truth yesterday, this is what she had to say.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human? I mean, honestly, like the president.
Motherfucker. We said that. Forever. This was your big selling point on him. Is that he's not a normal politician. And he says what he means, but also let me translate the millions of fucking things he says that I don't want him to actually say. He shoots from the hip. That's why we like him. And now you're going to cry that can he behave normally? Fuck off, Eli.
3D chess. Shut up. Fucking shut up about that shit.
Sharon says Obama bombed Syria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Libya, Yemen, and you fucking bitch said nothing. He did not get congressional approval. Hi, I'm 35 years old. TikTok was not a thing. I was not able to come on and talk about what Obama did. I was also in my early 20s, so the least of my concerns was politics, to be honest with you. I didn't even vote down ballot during that point in time in my life. I voted top ticket, and then I went out and I drank until bar closed, and then I went to work at 5 in the morning. I'm 35. I can admit I wasn't talking about Obama then, because I was in my 20s. I didn't fucking care. Oh yeah, I was on MySpace. Like, fuck off. Photo Bucket was still a thing. Yeah, I talk about it now, and I can talk about the fact that actually he had AUMF for everything except Libya, I believe. It's either Libya or Yemen. Was the only one he didn't have congressional approval for. Try again. Thank you, Law. Obama was authorized under the GWOT AUMF. There's only one where there's like a discrepancy on, if I remember right, Law. He got an OLC memo for Libya? Jesus. So I can critique him. We killed people overseas under Obama. I think you could take every president in for war crimes. I'd be perfectly fine with that. Okay? Okay. Megyn Kelly and her hypocrisy, thanks.
You don't threaten to wipe out an entire civilization. We're talking about civilians just casually in a social media post. You know, like, I I am the first to try to understand Trump.
B squared says, Megyn Kelly is fine. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat for Megyn Kelly is fine. Megyn Kelly is fine like she's doing well, or she's fine like she's fine. Sure. She looked better like 10 years ago when everybody's on fucking GLP-1s now who don't need to be on GLP-1s. That's what's happening. But anyway, she's going to go into how she was a big defender of him.
First, to try to understand Trump and his strategy and to not freak out over his weird social media posts and language that is loose and incendiary. Truly, I've lived with it for 10 plus years. I learned it.
Oh, we know, bitch. We know how much you fucking just ignored the shit that he said or excused it or justified it. Thick, what's that even mean? I'm on a secret, more devious GLP 1.5. Stop.
The hard way when I was on the receiving end of it for 9 months. And truly, I think that was a gift to me in many ways because it helped me really come to understand what he does with his social media. But this is completely irresponsible and disgusting. This is wrong. It's wrong. He should not be doing it. I don't care that it's his negotiation tactic is to kill an entire country full of civilians, men, women, and children. An American president so that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened. It's just wrong. It's not hard to say it. It's not hard to recognize it. I wish he would stop doing this.
Aw. Welcome to the club, Megyn. It's what we wished too. But you came out and promoted him. You decided that he would be a good choice. You knew who he was. You knew what he said. But you didn't care. Sharon is very upsetty spaghetti and she really likes the word bitch. Is Iran still there? It's not, you fucking loser bitch. Which is funny because you actually refuse to say fucking. She does F apostrophe N. You effers. And she didn't. Nope. Sharon. Oh, now we gotta stop because Sharon said some dumb shit. Sharon said that you fuckers tried to kill Trump. I did? It was one person. One motherfucker did that. And it sure as fuck wasn't me. Who's you? His name was Thomas Crooks. And we learned from Joe Kent that actually he was being blocked from being able to investigate it. And Thomas Crooks, as far as we know, was raised conservative. Hector, also that. If I tried, I wouldn't have. Anyway, thank you for calling the stream. Can I get your age, state, and who you voted for?
Oh, say that again. I'm sorry.
Can I get your age, your state, and who you voted for?
Yeah, I'm 45 in Vermont, and I voted for Trump.
Okay, why are you still supporting Trump?
Because it's funny watching you people lose.
What are we losing?
Well, you know, he won 2016, then he lost 2020 from election fraud, and then he got voted back in again. Hilarious.
Oh, sweetheart. How many court cases did he lose on the election fraud?
Sweetheart, it ain't over yet. Because you know what? He won 2024 because we know what happened.
What happened? What information do you have that his lawyers in 60 plus court cases didn't have?
It doesn't matter what you think, though.
Okay,
That's
you
what
don't
you
have
get.
any.
That's why you're losing.
6 years
That's
later.
why you lost.
6 years later, and you guys don't have any new information.
This is why it's comical.
Yeah.
He's going to take Cuba next. Watch him take Cuba next.
Oh, so
watch
you're
you try to defend
fine
Cuba.
with imperialism. I do defend Cuba every day.
It's not imperialism.
It is.
Lady.
It doesn't
No.
belong to us.
You know, yes, that's right. It belongs to the Cuban people, which he's
Right.
liberating, so, just like he's doing
How
to
is he?
Venezuela.
How do you liberate the Cuban people by getting rid of their electricity and making sure that they can't have electricity or food? How does that save them?
Why did the regime
No,
in Cuba
that you don't
just
answer a question.
pardon 2,500?
No,
Why did the Cuban regime just
sweetheart, you
2,500
don't
people
answer a
pardon?
question with a question.
No, sweetheart,
you
I can do
answer
whatever I
a
want in
question
this
with an actual
country.
answer. How do you liberate the
you're not
Cuban
my
people? How do you liberate?
Lady, you're not my authority. This is what you don't
How do you liberate? I know, but if you're so much smarter, if you are so much smart, I'm not a Democrat. Of course, I'm not a Democratic politician. Of course, I don't have any power, dummy. You are
retard. I'm a
okay. There's the slur. Anyway, how do you save Cuba by starving Cuba? Anyway, Megyn Kelly.
Like, he can't negotiate without doing this? What does that say about him? What does that say about the position that our country is in right now in these negotiations? He's got to say this. He can't be a dignified, strong leader without threatening a bunch of war crimes. Like what is he, Genghis Khan? Like what is he trying to do? And why can't he do it with strength, threats? Sure, go for it. That don't diminish and demean the United States of America in this way.
I'm so glad that Megyn Kelly's gotten on board. It's wild.
Every single right-wing person who was pushing for him in the election and stuff like that need to understand that they voted for what happened. And I personally think that we should sue them for emotional distress.
Maybe we should be able to do a class action on that. Sharon, who's still mad over there, says, who are you running? I'm not running anybody because I'm not a part of the DNC. But I am a registered independent, and we don't know who is going to be running because we haven't gone through the midterms yet. Usually, they will start announcing after the midterms are over is when we're going to start seeing who's running. So there's that. Sharon! Even no Democrat, even though about the Cubans, you silly little girl. What is that? Can you form a sentence correctly, Sharon? No Democrat even thought about. Oh, no Democrat even thought about the Cubans. What? They've talked about that for forever. About what's going on with the embargo. He made peace. Oh, Jimmy. Jimmy, did you miss it? Jimmy, did you miss the piece? Oh, Jimmy. Here we go. The Franzia is crazy, Trisha. Trisha gets to be a mod. Jimmy, did you miss it? Oh. Strait's closed again. Super peaceful. We're back at war. Love that for us. You guys are unwell. This true thing again. I was just kind of checking some shit before we get out of here. You're going live again? Is that?
Yes, I have $28 left.
28. Woohoo.
And my audio has been fixed, so.
Yay!
So hopefully we don't have any more fuck-ups. But I'm feeling we might do some Nick theme songs for the intro today, so we'll see. But okay, Chubby, bye.
Okay, bye. All right, let me fix for now. Dan. Oh, great. Pam Bondi's not going to testify. I'm shocked. She's defying a subpoena like Jim Jordan and all the fucking other Republicans. I'm fucking shocked. God. All right, let me go through my thank yous here today. Oh, God damn it. I thought I got away from it. Damn it. W. Steve. W. Fax, we love you. Thank you for the 928. Just cuz. Math. I was so close. I should have known as soon as Steve came in here that I was going to have to pull my calculator out. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Steve. So W's to Steve. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Oya. Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Kat, twice. Thank you, and thank you to Mike, and thank you to 13 Dot. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys and your support every single day. So thank you. We pretty much got halfway on that goal. That's pretty good. I'll take that. I will take that. The job well done. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Tomorrow is Thursday. I will see you tomorrow, Thursday, at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, whatever time that is for you. We're going to go raid Olive over here on TikTok. If she does go live on... I can't... That's not something you can do over here, is it? No. I don't think so. But I can do it on Twitch. If she goes live on Twitch, we'll raid on Twitch. But on TikTok, and we're going to raid on TikTok. She is... Okay. We're going to raid on TikTok and Twitch. YouTube, have a day. Have the day you deserve. For all of my lovies over there who are my mods, I appreciate you and everything that you do every single day. I appreciate the people who come in and interact with the Bloodsport over there and support over there. Thank you guys so much. I know that that's a place. YouTube is a place. And thank you guys over there on Twitch as well for being there in that calm space. I really like having my calm little chat over here. And thank you guys, everybody on TikTok. So we are going to go raid Olive. But I do appreciate you. So Twitch, stick around for a second. But TikTok and YouTube, I will see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Whatever time that is for you. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Bye.